The night broke with a sharp whisper that no one could explain. Shadows slid across the quiet town before anyone noticed. Emma felt the shift first, like a cold hand brushing her spine. She stepped outside, searching for the source of that strange pull. A distant light flickered near the old warehouse by the river. It pulsed once, then vanished, leaving the air trembling. Emma hesitated, but curiosity dragged her forward. Every step echoed louder than it should in the empty street. She sensed someone watching, hidden just beyond the corner. A shape moved, slow and deliberate, as if waiting for her. Her phone buzzed with an unknown number calling again. She answered, and a low voice whispered her name before the line cut. Emma stood still as the cold air wrapped around her like a warning. The street was empty, yet it felt painfully crowded with silence. She tried calling back the number, but it rang without end. A faint vibration hummed beneath her feet as if the ground breathed. She turned toward the warehouse, drawn by a pull she did not trust. The metal doors loomed ahead, rusted and half open like a broken jaw. A thin beam of light spilled through the gap and cut across the dirt. Emma swallowed hard, steadying her breath before stepping closer. Her footsteps scraped against scattered gravel, leaving harsh echoes behind. Inside, the air smelled of dust, oil, and something faintly metallic. She paused, listening for movement, but the building held its breath. Her phone buzzed again, this time with a text from the same number. The message held only 3 words that tightened her chest instantly. "They found you." Emma stared at the screen, unsure whether to run or hide. She typed a reply, but hesitated before sending anything at all. A soft clatter echoed deeper, inside the warehouse, like a dropped bolt. She followed the sound reluctantly, clutching her phone like a shield. The corridor stretched long and narrow, lit by dying fluorescent tubes. Each flicker cast strange shapes crawling across the peeling walls. Emma felt the weight of unseen eyes tracking her slow steps. A draft slipped through the hallway and brushed her cheek coldly. She reached a corner where the shadows gathered thick and still. Another noise rose from beyond it, a whispered scrape on concrete. Emma leaned forward and peered around the edge with unsteady courage. A figure crouched by a stack of crates, moving as if searching. The person froze, sensing her presence before turning toward her. Emma's pulse jumped as the stranger stepped into the dim light. He wore a dark jacket, hood pulled low to hide his face. His hands were empty, but his posture spoke of urgency, not threat. "Emma," he said quietly, voice tense but familiar in a strange way. She stepped back, unsure how he knew her name so clearly. He lifted his palms slowly, showing he meant no harm at all. "You're not safe here," he added, glancing over his shoulder nervously. Emma tried to steady her voice, though it wavered with fear. "Who are you?" she asked, gripping her phone tighter than before. The man hesitated, as though weighing every possible answer carefully. "Someone who owed your father more than he could repay," he said. Emma felt her breath catch, because she never mentioned her father. The man took a step closer, urgency sharpening his tone fast. "They're coming back tonight," he warned with a low whisper. "You need to leave before they seal this place again." Emma sensed no lie in his voice, only pure desperation. A heavy rumble echoed above them as something shifted on the roof. The man stiffened and grabbed her wrist, pulling her toward the exit. Emma resisted for a moment, torn between fear and confusion. But the ceiling groaned again, louder this time, shaking loose dust. She let him lead her, even though she trusted nothing around her. Outside, the night felt sharper, colder, and violently awake. Emma pulled her wrist free as soon as they reached the open street. The man stopped, breathing hard, watching the shadows behind them shift. She stepped back, needing distance to clear her spinning thoughts. His presence felt urgent, but his story felt dangerously incomplete. "Start talking," she demanded, voice sharpening through the cold. He scanned the rooftops before answering, eyes dark with concern. "My name is Cole," he said, keeping his tone low and steady. I worked with your father before everything collapsed. Emma felt a chill that had nothing to do with the wind. Her father's past was sealed in silence she never dared to open. What did he do? She asked, though fear curled around each word. Cole hesitated, as if one truth might tip the night into chaos. He uncovered something he wasn't meant to see, Cole said quietly. And the people who want it buried don't forget loose ends. Emma took a step back, pulse hammering as the implications sank in. My father died in an accident, she whispered, barely trusting her voice. Cole shook his head slowly, regret tightening his jaw. It wasn't an accident, Emma, he said, each word heavy with certainty. They were after what he found, and now they think you have it. Emma's breath faltered as the world tilted beneath her feet. She had nothing, no clue, no hidden message from the past. But her father's strange letter from years ago flickered in her memory. The one she never opened, because it arrived the day he died. Cole watched her carefully, reading the fear tightening her posture. They saw you at the warehouse, he warned, voice tightening. They'll track you through the town if you stay out here alone. Emma swallowed hard, fighting panic that clawed at her chest. Why help me? She asked, stepping back toward the dim streetlight. Cole's expression softened, but grief hid deep behind his eyes. Because I should have protected him, he said, barely above a whisper. And helping you is the only chance I have left to make it right. A sharp crack echoed from a nearby alley, like metal snapping. Cole moved instantly, pushing Emma behind a parked car for cover. She crouched low as footsteps scraped against broken pavement. Cole peered over the hood, posture tense and ready to run. A shadow moved at the far end of the street, slow and probing. Emma held her breath, afraid even air might betray them. The shape paused, scanning the area with clinical precision. Cole motioned for her to stay silent and wait for his signal. The figure turned away after a long moment and slipped into darkness. Emma exhaled shakily, her hands trembling against the cold metal. They're closer than I thought, Cole said, voice clipped and urgent. We need to move before this whole block gets locked down. Emma nodded, though fear still pulled at every muscle. Cole gestured toward the back road leading out of town. It's the only route they won't expect you to take, he whispered. Emma rose slowly, glancing once more at the shadowed rooftops. For the first time, she sensed the full weight of the danger around her. And she knew turning back was no longer an option for either of them. Cole led Emma down the narrow back road, shadows stretching long and restless. Her heartbeat pounded against her ribs as every step echoed in the night. The streetlights ended abruptly, leaving them in near darkness, barely visible. Emma struggled to keep pace, fear and adrenaline tugging in opposite directions. Cole glanced back once, eyes scanning the empty blocks for any sign of pursuit. They could be following in minutes, he said, tone clipped and urgent. Emma swallowed hard, gripping her phone like it could protect her somehow. The road turned sharply, leading them to a series of abandoned warehouses. Cole motioned for her to stay low behind a rusted fence that lined the path. Quiet, he whispered, pressing a finger to his lips as he scanned ahead. A distant engine roared, followed by a heavy set of footsteps on gravel. Emma froze, feeling the presence of someone drawing nearer, deliberate. Cole's hand tightened on her shoulder, steadying her without a word. The sound of tires crunching gravel grew louder as a black van appeared. Its windows dark, engine humming like a predator stalking the night. Cole dragged Emma behind a stack of crates, silent as the shadow of fear. They're searching for any trace, he murmured, glancing at the van. Emma's pulse raced as the vehicle slowed, stopping at the warehouse edge. A door creaked open, and figures stepped out, moving with careful precision. Emma recognized the sense of trained menace in their slow, exact movements. Cole whispered, "We need to move before they split and search the area." He pulled her toward a side alley, narrow and littered with broken boards. Emma stumbled once, scraping her hand on the rough wood, but kept moving. The van's headlights scanned past them, but they were swallowed by darkness. Cole led her through a gap in a chain-link fence, rusted and partially open. Once inside, he dropped to the ground, pressing Emma to follow immediately. "They won't expect us to hide here," he said, breathing hard but controlled. Emma crouched, listening as voices drifted from the van, distant but sharp. One figure muttered, "Check the warehouse again, they can't be far." Emma's stomach twisted as she realized how close they had come to capture. Cole's eyes met hers, steady and unshakable despite the danger around them. "We can't stay here long," he said, motioning toward a back stairwell. Emma followed, heart pounding with every step up the creaking stairs. The building smelled of old wood and decay, but offered shelter from the hunt. Cole paused at the top, listening for any sign of movement below. He signaled her to stay quiet and watched the door leading outside. Emma's hands shook as adrenaline surged through her, muscles tense. Minutes passed, slow and unbearable, each second stretching impossibly long. Finally, Cole whispered, "We have a moment. We move now, fast and silent." Emma nodded, pushing fear aside, trusting him for the first time fully. They slipped through a hidden exit onto a narrow rooftop pathway. The city lights below flickered, distant, but promising a path to safety. Emma felt the rush of danger and freedom collide, every step a test. Cole led her forward, one careful movement at a time, toward the unknown. Emma's legs burned as they crested the rooftop, city lights stretching below. Cole moved ahead with cautious precision, eyes scanning every shadowed edge. The wind whipped around them, carrying distant sirens and broken echoes. Emma clutched her coat tighter, heart hammering with both fear and resolve. "Almost there," Cole whispered, guiding her toward a narrow metal ladder. She hesitated, staring down at the dark alley far below, uncertain. Cole turned, his face steady and encouraging. "You'll make it," he said, voice low but firm, pulling her forward. Her hands gripped the cold rungs as she climbed, muscles trembling with strain. Cole followed closely, steadying her at the top before moving ahead again. The rooftop path narrowed, lined with vents and abandoned chimneys. Every step made a hollow clang that sounded too loud in the silent night. Emma's breath came fast, each exhale visible in the cold night air. Cole paused at a corner, glancing back to ensure she was still with him. A shadow flitted across the far rooftop, and Emma froze instantly. Cole's hand found hers, squeezing gently but urgently. "They're tracking the sound," he muttered, pulling her behind a vent. The figure paused, scanning the area, and then continued without noticing them. Emma exhaled shakily, muscles relaxing just slightly in relief. Cole led her toward a rooftop hatch, rusty but functional, with careful force. He opened it, gesturing for her to climb inside without hesitation. The interior smelled of damp metal and old insulation, dark and cramped. Emma ducked inside, pressing against the wall, trying not to make a sound. Cole followed, closing the hatch quietly and locking it with a soft click. Inside, the room was small, with a single flickering light above them. Emma's pulse slowly settled, though fear still tightened her chest. Cole leaned against the wall, eyes closing for a brief moment. "You need to rest just a little," he said, voice gentle but firm. Emma shook her head, unsure if rest was even possible now. "They'll come again if we don't move," she whispered, voice trembling. Cole nodded, running a hand through his hair, thinking quickly. "We wait until dawn," he said. "Less chance they'll search this high." Emma leaned against the cold wall, trying to calm her racing thoughts. Images of the van, the shadows, and her father's mysterious past swirled. Cole glanced at her, expression unreadable, weighing what to tell next. "You need to understand why this is happening," he said carefully. Emma lifted her gaze, gripping her knees, ready for anything he revealed. He took a deep breath, voice low but intense. "Your father discovered secrets that powerful people wanted buried forever." Emma's stomach twisted as realization sank, the weight of danger deepening. "Secrets," she asked, voice barely a whisper, fear and curiosity mingling. Yes, Cole replied, and now they believe you hold the key. Emma's mind raced, connecting fragments of her father's past to the present. Cole's eyes met hers, steady and unwavering, a silent promise of protection. The light flickered above, casting shifting shadows across their tense faces. Dawn would come soon, but for now, silence reigned, broken only by distant city sounds. Emma sat quietly, letting the weight of Cole's words sink as fear settled into resolve. Outside, the city waited, unaware of the danger climbing above its rooftops. Cole checked the hatch, ensuring it was secure, before sitting across from her. Rest now, he said again, voice softer. Tomorrow we move forward together. Emma nodded, closing her eyes briefly, bracing for what the day might bring. The first light of dawn crept over the city, casting pale shadows across the rooftops. Emma stretched stiff limbs, muscles sore from hours of tension and fear. Cole was already moving, scanning the perimeter with careful precision. They could still be out there, he warned, voice low and urgent. Emma followed, keeping close, feeling the weight of exhaustion and adrenaline. They slipped across the rooftops, silent as ghosts, avoiding visible streets below. A distant siren wove through the city, a reminder danger lingered nearby. Cole led her toward a service stairwell that descended into a narrow alley. The alley was littered with debris and crates, perfect for temporary cover. Emma crouched, breathing shallowly, trying to steady her racing heart. Cole checked the rooftops again, eyes narrowing at any sign of movement. We need supplies, he said, and information about who's hunting you. Emma nodded, understanding the urgency without needing explanation. They moved toward a small convenience store at the edge of the alley. Cole pried open a side door, slipping inside first to ensure the coast was clear. Emma followed, heart hammering as the faint hum of fluorescent lights greeted them. Shelves lined with scattered goods created shadows where danger could hide. Cole grabbed a small backpack and began placing food, water, and first aid inside. Emma found a flashlight and stuffed it into the pack, hands trembling slightly. Do you always prepare like this? She asked, trying to distract from fear. Cole shook his head, voice soft but serious. Not always, but when lives depend on it, you learn quickly. Emma glanced out the cracked window, noticing movement on nearby rooftops. Cole followed her gaze, tension tightening his jaw as he assessed the threat. They're closer than I hoped, he muttered, glancing toward the street below. Emma swallowed hard, a lump forming in her throat as fear returned. Cole pulled a map from his jacket pocket, spreading it on a nearby counter. We need a route out of the city, he explained, tracing a path with his finger. Emma leaned over, studying the lines, memorizing every turn and alleyway. Cole paused, listening intently as a distant engine hummed faintly. They're scouting, he whispered, eyes narrowing with focus and urgency. Emma felt a cold chill, realizing the danger was far from over. Cole packed the backpack quickly, slinging it over his shoulder with care. We move now, he said. No hesitation, no mistakes, or we're trapped. Emma adjusted her coat, tightening her laces and bracing for the next step. They slipped out a back exit, moving along shadowed walls and quiet streets. Every footstep echoed, just enough to make them hyper-aware of the city's sounds. A flicker of movement in a window made Emma freeze instinctively. Cole whispered, "Keep calm, we're almost at the subway entrance." Emma nodded, heart hammering, mind focused on survival and the unknown ahead. They reached a narrow stairwell leading underground, steps steep and dimly lit. Cole descended first, signaling for her to follow without hesitation. Emma took a deep breath, stepping into the darkness, leaving the morning light behind. The city above seemed peaceful, unaware of the hunt continuing below its streets. Cole glanced back once, eyes locking with hers, silent assurance in his gaze. Emma followed, every step bringing them closer to safety but deeper into danger. The underground tunnels smelled damp and metallic, a labyrinth of unknown paths. Cole led with confidence, every turn calculated, every shadow carefully avoided. Emma's pulse settled slightly, trusting him more with each silent step forward. The hunt was far from over, but for now they moved together, unseen and alive. The tunnels twisted and turned, dark and silent except for their careful footsteps. Emma's backpack pressed against her shoulders, heavy but necessary. Cole led the way, scanning every shadow and corner with practiced precision. A distant drip echoed through the passage, making them both pause. Emma swallowed hard, the tension in her chest tightening with every step. Cole paused at a junction, listening intently, body rigid and alert. "They've split up," he whispered, moving faster than expected. Emma's eyes widened as the weight of their pursuers became clear. Cole pulled her into a small alcove, pressing her close to the wall. A faint sound of footsteps echoed down the adjacent tunnel, deliberate and slow. Emma held her breath, heart hammering against her ribs, muscles tense. Cole whispered, "We wait, let them pass, then we move quickly." The footsteps grew closer, echoing unnaturally in the narrow space. Emma could hear muffled voices, low and urgent, but couldn't make out words. Cole's hand found hers, squeezing tightly, a silent signal of reassurance. The steps finally receded, fading into the distance like shadows retreating. Cole waited a few more moments, ensuring the coast was clear. "Now," he said, voice low but firm, guiding her forward with urgency. They moved swiftly, steps light but deliberate, down the twisting tunnels. Emma kept close, following every movement with focused attention. The walls were damp, streaked with water and grime, but offered cover. Cole paused again at a junction, pointing toward a narrow ladder leading up. Emma climbed carefully, hand over hand, muscles straining against the cold metal. Cole followed, ensuring she reached the top safely before climbing himself. They emerged into a small maintenance room, dim light flickering above. Emma took a deep breath, chest heaving, trying to calm nerves frayed by fear. Cole checked the room quickly, scanning for any sign of intrusion. "Good, we have a moment," he said, voice tense but relieved. Emma leaned against the wall, letting exhaustion catch up with her body. Cole unzipped the backpack, offering her water and a quick bite of food. She ate slowly, feeling the tension in her shoulders ease slightly. Cole spread a small map on a nearby surface, tracing their route with precision. "We're close to the old safe house," he explained, eyes focused and sharp. Emma studied the lines, memorizing turns and alleys, committing them to memory. "They won't expect us there," Cole said, "but we can't linger." A distant noise made both of them freeze, listening carefully. Emma's stomach twisted as she realized danger was never far behind. Cole motioned for her to pack up, moving with urgency and silent efficiency. They exited the maintenance room through a back stairwell, shadows swallowing them. The city outside appeared quiet, but danger lingered beneath its calm surface. Cole led her through alleys, rooftops, and hidden paths only he knew. Emma followed, trusting him completely, though fear still gnawed inside. The safe house emerged at last, hidden behind abandoned buildings and overgrown vines. Cole checked the perimeter before signaling her to enter cautiously. Inside, the room was sparse but secure, windows barricaded and doors reinforced. Emma sank onto a chair, relief and exhaustion colliding in her chest. Cole closed the door, securing it tightly, and finally allowed himself to breathe. "They'll come looking," he said softly, "but for now we're safe." Emma nodded, finally letting herself relax, at least for a brief moment. Outside, the city continued unaware of the hunt that had passed through it. Inside, they sat in tense silence, knowing this was only a temporary reprieve. Tomorrow the fight would continue, but tonight, survival was enough. Emma sank into the chair, exhaustion and relief battling inside her chest. Cole moved to the window, scanning the quiet streets below with sharp eyes. "They won't give up easily," he said, voice low, tense but calm. Emma nodded, mind replaying every moment, every shadow they had evaded. She finally allowed herself to exhale, a small, trembling release of fear. Cole turned, offering her a faint smile, rare and fleeting in the night. "We survived tonight," he said, "and that means we can plan for tomorrow." Emma looked around the safe house, simple, sparse, yet it felt like a fortress. For the first time, she felt a flicker of control in a life that had spiraled. Cole sat beside her, quietly going over their next moves, carefully and methodically. Outside, the city slept, unaware of the danger lurking in every shadow. Emma rested her head against the wall, letting the weight of the night settle. She thought of her father, of secrets buried and the path that lay ahead. Cole's presence was steady, grounding her amidst the uncertainty and fear. "We fight smarter, move faster, and trust no one outside this room," he said. Emma nodded, determination growing, fear tempered by resolve and survival. For now, the night had ended, but the story was far from over. She closed her eyes, bracing herself for the battles yet to come. Together, they would face whatever waited beyond the shadows. And for the first time, Emma felt ready to meet it,